Hello. Today we'll be continuing with By Your Hands. Last time, all the students and faculty were still dealing with the aftermath of what happened to Tucker. Everyone, everyone were interviewed by the police about what they knew about Tucker and his whereabouts prior to the murder. So this new update that came out in early March continues Mr. Baker's route. I think we can call him Brendan now because he prefers to be called Brendan and not Mr. Baker whenever or not in his classroom during classes. So, guess we just call him Brendan now. Whoa, hey there. I blinked, stopping in my tracks just before crashing into a shark who stepped over to block my way. What? Sorry about this, but we're still doing some work down this way. Might take a while before we're done. He reached down to tap a sign that had been set up in the middle of the sidewalk. Route closed, huh? Oh, alright then. I was just gonna go meet up with my friend, but, understanding nod. Yeah, sorry again. It really sucks, but what can you do? The bulky older male shrugged, took a look around, leaned in close while lowering his voice. Listen, don't tell anyone I told you this, but the path to the history building's still open if you want to go see a certain professor. He winked. I blushed. Mr. Baker? Indeed. It might cause a few problems down the line if you take that route, truth be told. But hey, it's better than just turning around and waiting for this one to open up, right? He grinned, white and toothy, and tipped me another wink. Alright, yo. I'll get out of your way then. But, before you go, just out of curiosity, what do you think of Brendan? Mr. Baker, I mean. Why? Like I said, just curious, no reason in particular. Scouts I know. And then my eyes were staring up at him, but that toothy grin of his remained firmly in place. Come on, don't be shy. At last, I let out a sigh. May as well be honest, since he was so insistent. His grin softened into a warm smile, as warm as my cheeks and the bridge of my snout. Alright then. Hope you two have a very good time together. Thanks. No problem. Well, what are you waiting for? Well, along. He waved me off. I gave him a wave of return and then made my way towards the history building. Up the stairs and the hallway, listening to the echoing of my footsteps, the only sound I could hear in the building. The thought crossed my mind that Mr. Baker might have already left the campus since classes were canceled and the police were finishing up with interrogating everyone. There wasn't all that much reason to stay. Still, I at least wanted to check. When I reached the door to his office, I could see that the light looked like it was on. But there weren't any sounds coming from inside, not even the ones I heard the day before, and nor the sudden bloom of heat on my cheeks and took a good long look at the door. Looked towards the end of the hallway to my right, then to my left. I won't wait to know for sure. Mr. Baker? I nodded. Brendan? I nodded again. Will any sound from inside, an answer, or even just hint of the bison move around? Nothing. And I looked around as my shoulders began to droop. Then a long, hard look at the door. The small set of blinds drawn and closed covered the window, which was set into it. However, there was a small gap on one side towards the bottom where some of the panels had been bent. If I hunched down and peered through, I might be able to get a good view inside. Rex? What are you doing? I might always jump right out of my skills when I heard his voice from beside me. True, but I did not yelp like a startled canine wild. Mr. Baker, I was, now I'll tell you, none of that Mr. stuff. We were not in class. He laughed, low rumbling, and that eased the tightness between my shoulder blades considerably. With a small smile, I drew myself up and turned to face him. I want to come by and see you. to see how you're doing with, everything going on. Ah, yes. Well then, he tugged on his tie and sifted from hoof to hoof. Why don't you come in? His rich masculine scent tinged in my nose as he approached, head and shrugged, tinged with a noticeable undertone of woody sweetness once more. I couldn't stop myself from taking a few further sniffs of it while waiting for him to unlock the door and lead me inside. Just like the day before, he propped over his desk chair and all but collapsed into it. Then, just like the day before, he gestured for me to have a seat in the plastic one nearby. And just like the day before, I was surrounded by the pungent scent hanging heavily in the air of the Bison's office. He must have noticed my nostrils filling. He cleared his throat, that awareness of his fur growing a little more intense. The window stuck, so I can't really air the place out. I do apologize. No, it's fine. I don't mind. How are you holding up with everything that's been going on? I forced myself to meet his gaze, perking my lips upward in a polite smile. Random this morning. Just been keeping close to some of my friends and trying to process it all. Sort slumping, head nodding, the Bison relaxed back into his seat. The flimsy chair creaked under his boat, but he didn't seem to notice it at all. Good. I'm glad to hear that. This is a shocking situation for everyone, of course, and with the police interrogating all the students and staff, I ducked my head, staring down at the floor between my shifting, rocking feet. Yeah, the sound of papers being shovelled on the desk, a drawer sliding open, the clunk of something heavy inside. The Bison trying to keep his hands busy as an awkward silence filled the room. Are you doing okay? I guess they interrogated you too, huh? It's been a day, yes, but I'll be fine. I'm honestly more worried about the effect this will have on the students. Security will need to be ramped up, and those teachers will have to be more vigilant. And that's not even getting to the fact that Thompson and Apex was killed on our campus in such a attention grabbing way too. That pads on his forefinger and thumb needed the bridge of his snout, right in the corner of his clenched eyes. He had quite a strained laugh leaked out his working throat. Reminds me of an old movie I've seen a couple of times. Pretty good, but the humor is pretty dark. What is it? Hannah's? The Bison continued muttering and mumbling to himself. When I cleared my throat, he flinched and thought he'd completely forgotten I was even there. Maybe we could watch it together sometime. Added to that list of extracurricular recommendations you got for me. At long last, he lowered his hand from his face, and I could see the expression again. A little more at ease, a little more relaxed. There were even the hints of a smile in the corners of his mouth. Sure, I could do that. I do have to step up if I'm going to be acting as your mentor after all. I let Robin laugh, accompanied by a few flicks of the Bison's ears. When the mood lifted and both of us distracted from thinking about the whole total situation, I could finally ask what I wanted to ask. How's that going to work anyway? You being my mentor, Well, a shrug of his loose, limp shoulders, a few thick fingers scratching at the fur on his cheeks, ruffling it every which way. The red on the insides of his ears was growing more intense every word. It'll just be like this. We can meet up whenever you feel you need to and just talk about anything that's on your mind or nothing at all if you prefer. If there's any issue that's bothering you, I can do my best to offer what advice I can, maybe even give some assistance. And though of course I won't be able to help with anything involved class beyond the usual professor stuff, guiding your studies or answering any questions you have about what we're covering, things like that. Right, yeah. But I don't want to take up your time if you're busy with the professor stuff. His hand flopped back and forth a lazy way, followed by a chuckle. Oh, don't worry about that. Again, his ears flipped back and forth. You're actually one of the only students to come by during my office hours in a long while, so I got the time pretty much free. Although I do have a pretty similar arrangement with the other one. Owen? That was why I had one to the Orca outside Brendan's office the day before, hadn't I? Ah, so you met him. He's a wonderful young man. I think you get along with him. I think you get along well with him. Maybe. Hey, if he knew we were both getting mentored by Brendan, maybe that could help break the ice. Honestly, it seemed to me that he could use a good friend or two. So please treat him kindly and be patient with him, alright? Alright. But I think we've gotten off track. He cleared his throat and straightened up in his seat, leaning forward a bit, elbows on his knees and hands folded before him. Touched his jaw, then allowed it to relax as he looked me in the eyes. As I said yesterday, if this is a leap you're unwilling to make, then I completely understand. You don't have to feel like it's something you need to commit to. You can cut things off at any time you like. But if there's any way I can provide guidance or advice or guidance or even just a shoulder to cry on, I want you to know that I'm willing. As if I back out after the day before. Thank you, Brendan. I really do appreciate it. And I think I really, really like that. Just like the day before, the warmth in his eyes and smile eased away all tension and anxiety. A deep breath in, and deep breath out. I want to keep doing this like this. I want to keep doing stuff like this. Just hanging out and talking or getting together to do whatever. Alright. Will you be comfortable exchanging phone numbers then? Just to make it easier to coordinate things, of course. He was blushing, so was I. Of course. I pulled out my phone, and Brendan pulled out his. It only took a few moments for us to get one another's numbers saved. Sent a quick text to confirm. He replied with a thumbs up and a smile emoji. Now then. And now a creaking of his chair underneath the bolster's bulk. Brendan shifted back and forth, ears flicking, so was his tail, the thick left smacking against the side of his desk. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about, Rex? There was medicine smell hanging in the air, pungent and bitter, spicy. Tinged with a faint, though intensifying by the second undertone of arousal. He glanced downward and felt my stomach whirl. They had to take in a breath to know I was probably putting out a good bit of my own scent. It sounds like you have something in mind. I do, yes, though it's a difficult subject to broach. His chest heaved as he took in a deep breath, holding it. Closing his eyes, his throat bobbing as he allowed. Do you understand that if we are to continue getting together like this, there are some boundaries that we need to keep in place, right? What do you mean? Don't play dumb. I may not be all that in touch with my feral senses, but I can recognize pheromones when I smell them. My thighs pressed tight together, but I knew it was a futile gesture. And you said you don't mind my smell, right? After a second, biting his lips in anxious hesitation, he spread his legs low. Though he didn't really need to. Those pants of his left nothing to imagination at the best of times, so it was easy to see the way his bows pulsed against the straining fly. And still he knew I was staring, and a shiver of arousal ran up my spine when I noticed he was staring right back, just like in the car the afternoon before when he was driving me to the museum. I like it a lot. That's what I thought. One tick at the clock on the wall, 2 or 3, both of us frozen as we were dozed in that moment of mutual arousal. Then he sighed, leaning forward, once more hunched over to hide the tent in his pants, and spoke in a firm tone of voice. Rex, let's talk seriously for a second here. I'm not just any professor here at the university, I'm your teacher, and I'm much older than you as well. Old enough to be your father, for Pete's sake. It's enough to make things difficult, even in the best case scenario. He swallowed, looked at me like he was having to force the words out. We can't get too close to one another, and I'm going to be providing the kind of support a mentor should. Understood? I looked him right in the eyes as I spoke, trying to keep my voice firm and sure as well. I get it, I really do, and I don't want to end up causing any trouble for you if something happens. Yes, that's not at all the issue. Okay, yes. That's one of several things I worry about. Even more so, I don't want to put you in a position that you're not comfortable with. I don't want to end up causing any trouble to you, or end up hurting you if things don't work out. I want to offer what support I can, but that won't be possible if we go too far over the line. And I told you, I get that. I understand, Brennan. And I'm alright if we just, keep things at a appropriate level, or at least try to. Do you think it'll become an issue? I mean, I shrugged just at him, felt my heart flutter as heat flared in my stomach and groin. Who wouldn't have an issue keeping their pheromones in check around an attractive man like you? It was the bison's turn to duck his head, blushing as his tail and ears flicked, a sigh in the mirror, even as he cleared his throat and sputtered out a few half syllables. Finally, the corners of his mouth eased and perked upward in a smile once more. Ahem. Thank you for the compliment and for understanding. Thanks. Of course. That said, you'll want to talk. I gave him a wide, playful smirk. Excuse me? Remember when I came by to talk yesterday? From the way his ears were flicking every which way, his tail was being steadily against the side of his desk. His chair creaked underneath him as he shifted around. It was obvious that he knew what I was getting at. Still he turned away and drew himself up. A slow, deep chest heaving breath, crossed one leg over the other, let his knee press the ground against the drawers in his desk. Puffed out and breathed through his flaring nostrils. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. I heard you loud and clear from out in the hall. You were jacking off in here, weren't you? He flinched at that, ducked his head, grunted and groaned, and let out a heavy sigh. Was I taking it too far? Just when I was starting to shift in my seat, feeling an apology welling up into my throat, I caught a brief hint of smirk from the bison as he glanced over at me. Face beat red under his thick brown fur, and playful glint in his eyes. So you were listening in, then, were you? That stern setting on his brow as he drew himself up. That staring right back into my eyes. Well, how had the tables turned so fast? He scooted his seat a little bit closer to me, bringing more of that rich musk with him. And here I am talking about how we need to be careful for your sake. So then, can I take it that you were intrigued? Have you now? He leaned in closer. And what exactly were you thinking about? Maybe getting a look next time? Next time, Rex, stand up for me, please. I rose to my feet. He did the same. The two of us staying in close proximity to one another, meeting one another's eyes. He puffed a breath through his flaring nostrils. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. I heard you loud and clear from out in the hall. You were jacking off in here, weren't you? He flinched at that, ducked his head, grunted and groaned, and let out a heavy sigh. Was I taking it too far? Just when I was starting to shift in my seat, I felt an apology welling up into my throat. I caught a brief hint of smell from the bison as he glanced over at me. Face beet red under his thick brown fur, a playful glint in his eyes. So you were listening in, then, were you? That stern setting of his brow as he drew himself up. That staring right back into my eyes. Well, had the tables turned so fast. He screwed his chair a little closer to me, bringing more of that witch must with him. And here I am, talking about how we need to be careful for your sake. So then, can I take it that you were intrigued? Have you now? He leaned in closer. And what exactly were you thinking about? Maybe get a look next time. Get a look next time. Next time, Rex, stand up for me, please. When I rose to my feet, he did the same. The two are staying in close proximity to one another, meeting one another's gaze, breathing in and then out together. His hands on my shoulders made me flinch, but I didn't want to resist. But he pulled me into a firm embrace. You're a wonderful young man, Rex. If there's any way that my advice or guidance can help you to reach the potential I see in you, then there's nothing that would make me happier. I very much like this mentor thing to work out between us, but yeah, I know, we can't go too far over the line. My arms wrapped around his cushy bulk in return, hugging him like that got all the tension and anxiety flowing right out of me, relaxing my limbs and shoulders and jaw completely. Like hugging a big, warm pillow. One that smelled really good. I could hear him sighing, heavy and long, suffering when the stiffness of my khakis brushed against the one in slacks. But still he didn't pull away. I'm serious. We can't do stuff like that together, no matter how much we might both want it. But, well, let's take things one day at a time, right? But it wasn't rejection per se. Alright. I lost palm, woven between my shoulder blades, tingling in the back of my mind. Memories of when I was young, curled up in a tight ball, flinching at every crash of rumble or thunder outside, and Camille sitting next to me, stroking my back while Connor did his best to cheer me up with a witty joke or embellished smile. Mr. Baker, are you in there? The door swung open. Brennan and I sprang apart, brushing ourselves off and straightening ourselves up. The heat in our respective faces, even my tail was twitching with a sudden nervous energy arcing up and down my spine. Orca, who banged into the room, looked from me to Brennan and back again, his face in massive blank confusion, staring with his mouth agape, not even a flinch at the pungent scent which filled the room. Hey there, Owen. Hi. His face locked onto Brennan as he shifted from foot to foot. I wanted to come by real quick before going home. I see, no worries at all. I have time, of course. See, the Orca kept his head ducked down. Am I interrupting? No, not at all. Rex and I were just finishing up. Right, Rex? Yeah, so, if you wanted to have some privacy, I could head out. No, it's, I just want. It's not really anything. I can just come back tomorrow. Are you sure? It really is no trouble at all. Owen saw and I glanced my way. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Mr. Baker. With that, he turned right back around and stepped out of the office, letting the door swing shut. Well then, after a moment letting the awkwardness linger, Brendan cleared his throat. Please do excuse him. He's very introverted. Now I get it, really. I shrugged. So, what now? Well, I don't really have anything left on my agenda. Would you like another ride home? Sure, I really appreciate it. It'd probably be good to just get off campus, head home, and let the day just end already. Alright then, let me just grab a few things. We can head out. Sure thing. The ride back to the lab complex was pretty quiet. Borden put on one of his CDs while I looked out the window, leaning my head on my hand. Watching the world outside pass by, breathing in and then out as the fluffy inside of the car was filled with our mingled scents. It was nice and dozed for a bit, and to be honest, I couldn't stop myself from letting my mind wander. Still, would probably be best to think of as a distraction for both our sakes. So, Hannah's? Where are you? Oh, a quite embarrassed laugh. Right. The name still escapes me, but it's a movie I think you quite enjoy, although given the circumstances it might not be the best time. Yeah. Do you have streaming or just cable? I got a few more recommendations that are much more lighthearted. Well, I'd be up for hearing them. The rest of us drive Brendan listed off shows and movies that he thought I would be interested in. He gave me a brief summary of each one too. And honestly, the thought of being able to talk more about them with him in the future, may even get together to watch a few, did get my spirits lifted. At long last, we reached the front gate of the lab complex. Brendan pulled over to the park while I unbuckled my seatbelt and turned to grab my bag from the back seat. Thank you for the ride, Brendan. Of course, Rex, anytime. Rex? When I looked over him, he was hunched over the steering wheel, squeezing it with both hands, keeping his gaze downcast as his reddened ears flicked. Would you like to have lunch together tomorrow? You could come sit in my office and we could eat together. And I smiled, leaned over, and gave him a kiss on his warm, fuzzy cheek. The bison flinched at the contact, but didn't pull away. Instead, he turned to give me a small smile of his own. I like that, sure. Alright, it's a plan then. I'll see you tomorrow, Rex. See you tomorrow. With that, I hopped out of the car, closed the passenger side door, and gave him a wave. Watched as the bison's car pulled away before turning to head through the lab complex gate. For the entire walk back to the house, my mind was a blur. So much had happened. There was so much to think about. A couple of times, I'll confess, it got a little bit overwhelming. Still, I was almost home. I could head inside and up to my room and rest from everything. Just take a deep breath in, let it out in a heavy sigh. Anxiety in Rex. Oh, Dr. Abraham. Hello, sir. I've been trying to reach you for the past half hour. Where have you been? I'm sorry, sir. I didn't hear my phone going off. I was just hanging out with a friend I met on campus. Is that so? Your socialization is going well. Yes, sir. Well then, I suppose that's alright. Just be more aware going forward. Yes, sir. I heard what happened on campus this morning. I understand that must have been a difficult thing to experience. How are you feeling? I think I'm okay, sir. Just trying not to think too much about it. Understandable response. Still, I scheduled a session with Dr. Tanya in order to gauge and help regulate your emotional state. And that's something which will be necessary, of course. Thank you, sir. Should I head over to our office now? I'll escort you over, but first, you were interrogated by the police as a potential person of interest, yes? Yes, sir. They were interrogating everyone, all the students and the faculty. And what did you tell them? Just what I was doing last night, and that I was home before 7. That's all. Alright then. Well, come along. Dr. Tanya should be ready for you by the time we arrive. And it wouldn't do to keep her waiting. Yes, sir, Dr. Abraham.
Hello, I hope you guys all enjoyed this build by your hands. This one's more of a slower build, but I worked on several sprites in this build. If you choose a lot of lustful choices, certain scenes will change drastically, so read those scenes if you want more Brennan's route. Join my mailing list by clicking on the orange button above for updates in the game as well as blogs I write about. If you want access to the latest build which furthers Brennan's route, please consider becoming a patron so you can be granted access to it. You can become a patron here. That's everything. Thank you for sticking with me, and I'll see you next time. See you later. So, that's the latest update about your hands from Brendan. A new update for Brendan's already out on Patreon, so if you want to watch it now, you can go over there on Patreon and watch it. You can also support the game while doing so. So, seems though the relationship between Rex and Brendan is growing slowly but surely. It still has grown to the point that Rex managed to tell Brendan about him hearing him in his office playing with himself. And that did surprise Brendan, but it seemed like he asked Rex what he thought about it, if it was good or not. So I think that alone also tells how much the relationship has grown, because otherwise it was just a pure professional relationship. He would have been shocked and embarrassed, but he seems to be a little bit more okay with it now that he and Rex are closer now. It seems like he's okay with that now, to the point that he actually wanted to see if he enjoyed it or not. If he enjoyed hearing him in his office playing with himself. At least that's what I think he was trying to say to Rex, whether he enjoyed it or not, while peeping through the office window the other day. So, looking forward to the next update, see how their relationship grows. Certainly they will have to be careful, because of age difference. Brendan is old enough, as he mentioned, he is old enough to be Rex's father, and getting a relationship with a professor. And it's kind of like a taboo to be in a relationship with a professor to a lot of people. But they will take it slow, and I hope they keep it that way. I think when they keep it slow, it makes the relationship even better, rather than take it fast. Because when you take it fast, you do it without any concern for what could happen. It has to make a relationship worse by taking it fast than taking it slow. When you take it slow, you get to know each other better, and you get to know all the consequences of that more. So I think that taking it slow makes somebody gain more knowledge of the person, as well as the implications of being with that person and all the pros and cons of it. And if somebody decides not to be with that person, that could be a good thing, because at least now they know about that person and kind of move on from them or just be really good friends. Or if they take it slow, they do want to be with them, it will likely turn into a relationship that will be stronger, a more intimate relationship in which the person knows more about the person they're going with, and the relationship will go stronger from there. So we got to meet Dr. Abraham. He seems to be a decent person, concerned about Rex from being interrogated by the police. And I believe in the next update, we're going to meet Dr. Tanya. I will meet Dr. Tanya, or maybe we probably won't meet her, and instead it'll just be kind of like they mentioned meeting somebody without us actually getting to see them. But I think we'll get to see her in the next update. I don't know if Dr. Abraham and will be getting a sprite soon or not, but we didn't actually get to see him, but at least we got to hear from him. He had actual conversation with him. I believe the next update should come out sometime early next month, because the last update came out like a day or two into the new month, into February, and this new update came out at the same time, like around a few days into March. So I assume the next update will come out a few days in April, so unless there's delays. But that's all I have to say for now. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you later.